everybody. I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors, and this is episode number 28. Feeling so great about your acting career. You gesticulate as you talk at your auditions. Today we have Derek Mehn. Derek is a commercial casting session runner. So he's the guy who's behind the camera. He's the one who tells you the explanations that you're supposed to be listening to. Derek has been a session runner in Los Angeles for about 5 years. He's also a working actor. He has done lots of improv and sketch. He's done the Groundlings. He's had his own troupe. He's super great. He's also booked 25 commercials on his own over the last 4 to 5 years. So very well informed. I really wanted you guys to have an understanding of what is going on in the commercial world. I know you all talk to me about being on a veil and like wanting to kill yourself because it's just so much. So we just talk about everything. It's a super great episode. Derek is really informed. He's just a little bit hilarious, and I think you're going to love it. So enjoy. I hope you're on your way to an audition.
Audrey helps actors because they don't know anything.
Hi, everybody. I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors, and today we have Derek Mehn. Hi, Henny.
Hi, I'm Derek Mehn.
Usually I say, and today we have...
Derek Mehn.
Hey! Derek and I were discussing commercials versus theatrical versus voiceover, as we do. And let's just go right into it. So, you guys, Derek is here today to talk about commercials. He is a commercial session runner for how many years now?
I think like about 5.
I think like 5, right?
Yep.
How many like products have you been the commercial session runner for in 5 years?
Hundreds.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, Derek. If you're going to drink that tea.
Yeah. Oh, you don't like the sound of the sipping?
Voiceover, can we
it makes it so real.
I had one where I kept drinking a soda, and every time I was like, and people were saying important things, but all I could hear was.
All right.
Like,
yeah, I'll try. I'll sip it off. I promise not to cross sip.
You can,
Okay.
Just move and sip.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I know you're a pro.
Okay.
He's a pro is the thing about him. So 5 years, and let's just talk about we know each other from mutual friends.
Yeah, mutual friends.
Mutual friends.
Yeah.
And
you were in the BHP. I saw your work on stage.
you did see my work on stage.
I sure did.
I've seen your work on stage. Oh, we're even.
Yeah, there we go.
And what you tell people just like a little rundown about.
See, no sip that time. Smooth.
You tell people just a little bit about what you've done. Who are your reps? Are you SAG? Where have you studied?
Oh, great. Yeah, sure. Okay.
So they get a rundown of you.
Yeah, I'm a SAG actor.
Okay. SAG-AFTRA, really.
SAG-AFTRA now, sure. Yeah, I got in, like doing an independent film through a sketch company that I, belong to. Mm-hmm. They produced a film. Mm-hmm. They Taft-Hartley'd me into it. Luckily, they had some people that were doing their paperwork.
Right.
And then I just kind of languished, like I think a lot of people do, for a while.
Good. You're like, I have my SAG card, and now I'll stand here.
And now I'll cater.
I knew
So... Yeah, and then I kept doing sketch comedy, and I had a friend that's now a movie star. She worked in the lobby of a mid-level, being generous, commercial casting place, and she got one of them to come see me doing like a Comedy Central stage show in Hollywood, and they signed me.
Cool.
And I got out about 3 times a year.
This is a commercial agency.
Commercial agency. Yeah, I'm repped by the lovely Jennifer York and Lindsay Mass over at DPN.
Good. And they rep you commercially, voiceover?
They rep me commercially, and then, I've gotten into voiceover recently and booked my second voiceover gig this year. The only thing I booked so far in 2018, Audrey.
Oh, but
you caught me at a tough time.
Is it a good voiceover?
It's McDonald's.
Oh, well, that's good.
Right?
So maybe, anything, possibly lots of money and maybe none. Who knows? We'll find out.
Exactly.
Okay, good. What did you study in college? Where'd you go?
Are we doing a deep dive here? Okay.
I mean, just like for people to have like a little reference point. You know what I mean?
East Coaster. I went to Penn State University.
Okay.
I was not allowed to major in theater.
Yes.
Wasn't a thing.
Wasn't a thing you could
where
do.
I'm from. My parents voted for Trump, so you can imagine how supportive they were about that.
Right.
So, yeah, fun. No, so,
What did you major in?
Communications.
Okay, good. That's the theater major for people whose parents don't approve, just in case.
Yeah,
you
and then
guys are
I
wondering.
basically weaseled my way into like taking a bunch of like, I basically got abused because the theater department took advantage and made me take all the classes where they do slave labor.
Yeah, right.
Where you work the set
Yes,
and
yeah.
do the lights.
Uh-huh.
And then I came out here and, after
Did a
college.
lot of improv, sketch, things like that.
Yeah, so I came up through improv. I started doing my own, like my own sketch comedy company. I was in one, and then I formed my own. We had 4 shows running for a while. I was like the managing director and creative director and directing and all that stuff. And then took Groundlings.
Got all the way through the Sunday
Worked
Company?
all the way through. Got into Sunday Company.
Right.
Did some time in Sunday Company.
How many commercials have you booked?
Okay. I know you like stats on this.
I do
Career
like
stats.
stats.
I would say 25, 26.
In 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
25 in about 4 years.
Great.
4.5 years, 5 years.
Yeah, that's great. Of those, how many do you feel like you booked because you know what you were doing?
I'm a similar feeling of you that I really have to earn it.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a real interesting type. I would say a good 22 out of the 25. And a lot of times directors are nervous about communicating with actors.
I mean, most of the time, I think they're nervous. I think the only ones that aren't, in my experience, are the ones like if you, Derek, became a commercial director,
right,
you would be the one that's more comfortable. But most of them don't have that background. And for me, it's immediately visible whether or not they're comfortable with actors. Because when they're comfortable with actors, they usually start really playing with you.
Yeah.
For me, in a way that's like, oh, we're here to play.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, well, whatever, we'll play.
Yeah.
Versus like, yeah, Audrey, you can just see when their face looks like, not that. Whatever you did, can you do not that? And you're like, yeah, cool, I'll try something. That sounds great. I'll do not that.
I will also say that running session, I learned more about on-camera acting in 6 months of doing this job than I did in 4 years of Playhouse West acting classes.
Of course, right.
Sorry, current students.
Well, I always tell people, like, it's not even a knock to anyone. I mean, you just have to be careful who you're taking your acting advice from, you guys. Like, there's that thing that Leslie Kahn did in This Week. Have you heard about this?
No.
This voice recording where Leslie Kahn tells this actress to change her name to a Hispanic name, take headshots in a red shirt with sparkly earrings, and, like, even make it a social media expo so she could, like, have people, like, follow her transition into being a pretend Latina actress. Who knows why that was a good idea. But when you listen to it and when you learn about her thing, for me, she does a lot of talking about how she was a Jewish American actress and she had to get a nose job, and she encourages other people to get plastic surgery. And that, to me, is very indicative of somebody who entered in the 90s when women weren't allowed to really be character actresses unless they were, like, super charactery. I mean, on Frasier, and the actress was pregnant, and how they handled it on the show is they sent the character to fat camp.
Oh, jeez. That's a crazy story, but I know actors whitish actors that maybe married a Latino person and use the hyphenate, or sometimes replace,
I see, yeah.
Look, I see it all the time, and then I see sometimes in the callback when the clients and the director and the producer are looking at their cast.
Yes.
They are trying to create a little rainbow, very often.
Yeah.
And depending on the roles or whatever, they'll say, is this person? They'll look at the last name and be like, does that
count?
Enough that we could check a box.
And
so
I'm not
I know
surprised
people
by that at all.
Yeah.
And my point as we were talking about it was really that there are trends in casting and in the business every year. And I really feel like you have to be careful who you're getting your, like, acting advice from. Because if it's somebody who was coming up in the 90s, they're maybe not able to give you advice that is as checked in.
Oh, no.
I'm also a fan of you going and getting class help from people that are current, who know what they're talking about, and what is so hard is so many of the people who really know what they're talking about, they're working. They're like Derek. Have a life. Derek has 3 kids, BTW guys, and a wife who's a social worker. So he's got other things to do besides, teach classes. So in addition to all of his acting and being a session runner. So, something that you can do that's really affordable is just tape yourself.
Yeah.
Just tape
I
yourself
even
and see.
look, I was in a play and I even suggested to the people when we were making a move because we were going to go do it in New York at the Fringe Festival. I was like, can we just tape what we're doing now? And,
yes.
and everyone was like, why?
I know.
And I
It's
was
so
like,
funny.
I mean, don't you want to just watch tape? Like,
No,
you know what
we
I mean?
don't.
Like, that's all, like, if you're
We
like a
don't.
football player, baseball player,
Right. You watch tape.
you're like, why would I look at myself? You know?
You've got to know what your face. You have to know what your face and voice and movement. We all have a quality of movement
Yeah.
that communicates something, but it's
Well, if you can do a take where you throw it away and
Yeah.
you can do that, because
Yes.
that's not easy. And
It's
you're
not.
also very gifted. So, like, that, you know that's not easy to do necessarily for a lot
Right.
of people. But if you can do a take where you throw it away, people will want more then. The fastest way to turn somebody off is to start with a take where you're doing something and then everyone goes, oh God, okay.
God.
But you never get there. You're never allowed, because actors, I think, want to show off that whole range,
Yes.
that whole rainbow of things that you can do right away. But you don't get there unless you the password at the door.
Well, which is
is
really
throwing it away.
I see. I wouldn't say throwing it, because I think like what's dangerous about what you're saying is there are a lot of actors out there that really do have to push themselves. You and I are not two of those actors. You and I already have strong points of view. We're sort of gregarious, loud, comedic, capable actors, fast. But I know a lot of actors that are very small. They're too small. And so
Yeah.
what happens is they'll go in for commercials and they'll be like, all right, so just throw it away. Like, don't be funny. Like, just calm it down. Like, you guys. But they're talking to you and me, because most of the people in the room are you and me's.
Right.
And so they like throw it away. And then the session runner's like, yeah, so maybe not that much. So maybe you take it up like a notch. And they're like,
Well,
all
I would
right.
say that those people will still get they'll get a callback because they
Yes.
didn't do too much. But I wouldn't say that those people that you're talking about don't have that ability. I think that it's render speed. So, like, I know Jesse would be very familiar. He would love
Yes,
this and
he'd
hear
love
it. Like, when you're trying to add a bunch of digital effects and you add them all, but then
Yeah.
you have to, like, push enter and then, like, wait for them all to
Yes.
render
Yes.
before you can move on. And the render speed is what I think is what those people are missing. So when the guy says it's the adjustments and it's like, okay, that was great. You can you're throwing it away or whatever. You're not doing much with it, but now add a little here and add a little here. Not, you don't have to go big all of a sudden, be gregarious all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's
but add
hard.
a moment here, add a moment here. Maybe have a button ready here. And at theatrical auditions, you're not really asked to go outside the lines a whole lot.
Well, I don't think it's that. It's more that usually when you're booking live television, you have more that you're doing, is because it's more than 30 seconds, I would
Right.
say. So there's like work to be done that you can grab onto. Also, you don't get callbacks.
Yeah,
And
right.
when you do get callbacks, it's not a work session.
Right.
When you get a callback, it's come and perform. And there are instances, like I have friends who went out for the various Star Wars, and like those directors are really doing work sessions in their callbacks.
So what does a work session mean in that?
So a work session is like what you do in a commercial callback, where they're like sitting there and they're telling you, and they're like, let's try it
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this,
yeah.
and let's do it like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I like the way that you did that. Let's try it like this,
Right,
because
you're
they're
doing, like,
trying to
9,
get
8 takes, yeah.
colors and see
Yeah.
like and explore the material through you
Yep.
and all that sort of stuff. But with the exception of those like very giant high profile projects where
Right.
you're going to be the lead of a franchise.
Right, or in it. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
it does not happen.
Right.
You really do not get callbacks anymore. And if you do, it's a set. You go in, you perform, you leave. Whereas commercials, for those of you who don't do a ton of commercials or are just getting into it, the callbacks, what I think people are usually so surprised about, which really throws a lot of theatrical actors off,
Yeah.
and takes a lot of people time to remember, is that whatever you did in the audition, it will often be totally different
Yeah.
in the callback. And you just have to, and that's why improv actors do so well, is so often they're like, there's a page of dialogue that you've memorized, and then you walk into the callback and it's completely rewritten. But wait, Derek, wait. I have to interrupt you.
Help me. I need some help.
And now it's time for listener questions.
I'm so scared.
This question comes from Michael. Michael says, I check Deadline every day to see who is being cast in pilots. I have access to Casting About to see who is casting. I check Showfax to see if I can find the scripts for pilots. Is there any website I can check to see what type of character they are casting for any particular pilot, similar to the breakdowns my reps would get? That way I could help them find auditions for me or suggests that they pitch me on something that the CD is casting my type? Or is this something I should just leave and trust my agents and reps to be doing, even though I don't get out as often as I would like? I realized that I could also see who is producing the pilot/movie/show, research their past projects, and see if I fit into their universe, but I was just curious. Very best, Mike. Yeah, Mike, there isn't something that you can look at that's as good as the breakdowns, which is what they're looking at. What you're going to learn as you're building your career is that basically casting directors get typecast also. So if you are a casting director who happens to do like a CW fancy show where everyone's beautiful and like so interesting, that is something that casting director is going to get again and again and again. There's few casting directors who are doing a multicam and then they're also doing some like super like moody, beautiful teen show. That usually doesn't occur. So whoever is your type as far as casting is concerned, if they're casting shows last year, the year before that, that are right for you, chances are they're going to be casting shows that are right for you for years to come. How you can sort of check as far as being in contact with your reps is actually to self-tape yourself. You can find the pilots. I've told people, read the pilots on tracking boards. There are various tracking boards. You're going to have to find them. If you can find them, then you read the pilots. And just what they do for casting directors is the breakdown, which is what you're talking about, the description, is usually the same breakdown that the writers write. So when they introduce a character, when they write the pilot, they'll be like, enter Sharon, 35, brassy, slightly overweight, really funny, crass, but with a heart of gold. So then what the breakdown will say is Sharon, 30s, maybe they'll say 40s, depending on what they're looking for, brassy, short, with a heart of gold. They'll just use the same description that was written in the script. So that's the way to do it. If you're looking at show facts, you can click on pilots. So when you click on pilots, it's going to give you anything in the last month is whatever's been casting. So now it's March, so you can go to March, and if it says March 1st, then you know that's a pilot that's either been updated or has just been posted from March 1st. And then you click on characters. If you're a guy, click on all the male sounding names, and then in the very beginning, it's going to have an introduction to that character. So if you click on Mark for the pilot, fantastic show pilot, then Mark is going to have sides that will come up. You'll read those sides, and it usually says, Mark enters the coffee shop, handsome dad, sad heart, lovable nature. And you can just say to yourself, oh, is this something that sounds like me? Am I a handsome dad with a sad heart and lovable nature? I think I could do that. Or I don't play dads yet, so I'm not going to play that. And then you can also then look at who wrote the show. You can go on Deadline for the name of the show and find out who wrote it, who is directing it, who's producing it, who's creating it, and look at their previous work. And that should tell you the world that you're entering into. It's a lot of work, but, what else are you going to do? That's your career. All right, Michael, I hope that was helpful.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
So what happens behind the scenes that actors should know?
At a callback for a commercial audition, a lot of times the director and the ad agency are meeting for the first time that day.
And the ad agency includes the ad agency and also the client, which are separate.
Well, sometimes, so if you're auditioning for Clorox,
right,
the guy that works at Clorox isn't usually there, but
yes,
sometimes they'll have a creative director or something, but
right,
they're usually not there because then they usually watch the callback,
right, in their whatever
link,
yeah,
and so that you get a link, you click on it, and then the clients will not see the full callback link. What happens is after they go through the callback, they'll make a selects link. Mm-hmm. And that's what they will then send to Clorox.
Great.
And be like, this is who we want them to see as our first choice.
Right.
Sometimes there's another link, that's the backups.
Right.
That they will only show them if there's a problem with their favorite. Sometimes they're both on the same link.
Yes.
And sometimes the clients, whether they have a reputation for being needy or demanding or whatever, will want to see them. And insist on, oh, I don't like this one.
Yes.
You know?
Right. They want to be involved in the decision-making process.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Everybody wants to take credit if it ends up being good. Yeah. And then nobody wants to take credit if it ends up not working.
Yeah, everybody wants plausible deniability
exactly.
if the wrong choices are made.
Exactly. Or
and they also,
this
at
is
the
all
same
me
time,
if it worked really well.
want to have a skin in the game.
Right.
So
exactly.
That's why a lot of times there's so many people there. Yeah, there'll be usually the copywriters, whatever they call themselves,
yes.
creatives.
Yep.
And then usually sometimes the director, creative director for that ad agency. And then there'll sometimes be a producer that works with the production company that usually works with the director.
Yes.
Sometimes there's also an agency producer, but these are on big budget
projects.
jobs. But a lot of times it's the producer, the director, and like 2 people from the ad agency.
And often
4 or 5 is the usual.
I mean, for me, it's usually more. I feel like now it's like 5 to 8 people in a room. I mean, I think I'm going out for always the bigger campaigns. So for me,
naturally.
it's like, I mean, I'm just so
sure.
You guys. Like,
Audrey doesn't go for that direct-to-internet stuff.
I mean,
no.
Come on. To me, what's been interesting to see too is the power poll that happens sometimes in the room that you can watch, because there's like some directors that they're like really happy to have secured. And the director really is the person that is driving the room.
If the director has a reputation,
right,
or they've like reached a certain height,
right,
then they dominate the room. But if it's a newer director, usually sometimes there's a lot of people in the ad agency that wish they were directors.
Most everybody on set in general, in my experience, no matter what you're doing commercially or theatrically, all of them actually want to be the director and wish that they were, and are fighting at all times not to say stuff to the actors because they really want to be
well,
the
and
person
also
in
because
charge.
once you're on set, the ad people usually can't. Like that, there's a much more clear delineation on set of power where it's like, you sit in Video Village,
right,
you don't get to come and talk
send a
directly to
note
the
forward
actors.
if you need, right.
So if they want to get it out of their system, they got to get it out in the
right.
callbacks.
And show how, and it's really, to me, an experience a lot of times of like a show-off zone.
A little bit. And a good director will let the ad guy show off.
Oh, interesting.
And a lot of times in between takes, the ad guy will be like, check out this app my buddy does. Like, isn't this crazy? And I did. And they just kind of want to impress the director. It's
so
just like
special.
Yeah,
it's all
just
high
like
school.
cool kids.
It's always high school. Yeah,
it kind of feels
high
that
school.
way.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the first time they're meeting, and why that's important for you guys to know is the commercial director is also sort of auditioning for or impressing the people that are also in the room. So if it's the director, the ad agency, and some producers, they're like using the actor to be like, look, I can do this stuff with these actors. And isn't this a fascinating choice?
Right. So sometimes the director will get chosen because he's supposed to be good with actors. And like what that usually means is that they've called in a bunch of good improv people that make them seem really good. Yeah. But it's also, they're kind of showing off and they're also feeling each other out. What happens is they play their cards close to the vest. And the reason that they haven't talked a whole lot sometimes is intentional because the director doesn't want to say, hey, I have a bunch of ideas for the commercial, and then get shot down in a group email. Because what the ad agency will play their cards is, well, we have contact with the client, with Clorox. And that idea is nice. We love it.
Yeah, right.
But we know Clorox won't like it.
Right.
Even if they have no idea.
They've never talked to Clorox about it.
So they can use that as like, I don't know.
Interesting. The experimental sort of show-off zone of their ideas.
So the directors experienced ones will know that. And so then they wait until they're in callback because it's much harder face-to-face.
Right.
And then when you have much less time before the shoot to say no to stuff.
Yes.
They're not going to say no to their face usually. And then they're like, okay. And then he already has like, oh, I already have it storyboarded.
Right. And he also can then show it as part of the callback in the selections.
This is how it works.
Like,
see with this guy?
See how this guy
with
did
the mustache
this?
when he does this?
Like, that's what I'm thinking of.
And so he sells it to him visually there.
Yes.
And so there's a little bit of, that's usually the power struggle that's going. And if it's good, they all kind of want it to be good.
Right.
The other card they play is, well, we sold this idea to Clorox based on this line of dialogue, or like we sold them having the person say this. So
yes.
I know that you want to change that now because whatever actory reasons or directory reasons, but we need to.
This is the tag that really sold them.
Yeah, we sold them this.
Idea.
We sold them this idea, this performance.
Interesting.
So the director will then have to be like, okay, fine, and then inevitably 7 times out of 10, that's what will be the final cut.
Right. Well, that's what I tell people is like, my experience in callbacks is that they really want me to show that on set, I am an unlimited source of options.
Yeah, and that's why you want to be able to do that throwaway take you're talking about.
Yes.
For the agency and so everyone trusts you that you don't have to do too big.
Be crazy.
And then have that render speed to be able to give them options so the directors say, look, aren't they fun?
Yes.
If I sell you on the fun options, then we can use this person.
Yes.
And if you guys shoot all the fun options down, they're still good.
And that's my experience is that when I go to a callback and they're like, let's try these 20,000 hilarious things, I know the only thing that's going to make it is like me walking down the grocery store aisle and picking out the cereal.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're doing here. Like, we're having a session.
Yeah, you got to win.
Like,
That's a good thing to realize is that you got to win the callback.
You have to win the callback.
You're not really winning the spot there.
No.
Because what happens is the other thing, when you get on set, everything's changed again.
Yes. And so this is really hard for theatrical actors, I think, and especially hard
and
for
nobody
theater
talks
actors.
to you in between your, like when you book it.
Right. No.
And you do the fitting, nobody talks to you until you're on set.
No.
And then it's like, oh, I'm not doing this anymore, or I'm not, you don't want me to be the funny guy anymore. No, we didn't have time. We realized we cut all that out.
Yeah.
We just need you to do this. Totally different thing.
And also, or even they'll be like, for the first audition, they're like, here's the script. And then you get in, they're like, all right, so here's these actually 5 scripts. You have a half hour. So if you could get ready for these 5 scripts. And then you go in, and because you don't care, you're like magic with the 5 scripts. And then you get cast. And so you're thinking like, cool, I got these 5 spots. And then you show up to shoot or for wardrobe, and they're like, cool, so you're the checkout girl for spot number 1. And you're like, what?
They've changed your role. Yeah.
I also say that to you guys. So when you're, so many times I've auditioned for roles and they don't have an audition for the checkout girl, but they know they're going to need the checkout girl.
Yeah.
And so a lot of you, when you're in the callback, this is an attitude thing. When you have a bad attitude and you're like, none of these girls are like me, or I'm just not, I'm not blah, blah, blah. I'm not a Buick mom. Like, that's not my brand, right? But they may have somebody in the spot that you're not reading the storyboard. They don't give it to you a lot of the time.
Right.
And they're going to have somebody like coming by and like giving the Buick mom like a weird look. And that might be you, but they're not always auditioning that part. And so it can help you to just have a better attitude that you don't know what they're creating. They really don't want to tell anybody because everyone thinks they're really special and everyone's trying to get their secret or something. So it's just have a good attitude when you feel like you're sort of misplaced or you're there and you're not supposed to be, that may be of a greater design. And if you have a good attitude about it, chances are you'll do a better job in the callback, and then you have a better chance of booking whatever they may have in store for you.
Yeah, and don't be mean to the lobby assistant.
Oh, God. And also, don't flirt with the lobby assistant. Like, if you are, because I've seen a lot of hot girls be like, hi, and like, I'm just going to be, sorry if I'm doing it like just totally offensive hot girl voice.
Yeah, no.
Hi,
Well, it's like a
this is
1940s hot girl voice, but I get it.
I'm a 1940s hot girl.
Oh, I just hopped a taxi over here. And
I just...
Gee, willikers.
And so if that's what you're doing, I mean, that's your choice. And I'm like so horrified for these girls because I'm like, this guy has no power. This guy is not going to bring you back. Right. This guy doesn't get to decide any of what's happening.
She's kind of weird, or he's kind of like too much.
Or this person's a bitch. I mean, I've seen that. I have seen women make the lobby person cry because the audition or the callback is going long.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's not their fault.
It's not their fault. And also, this is what we're here to do. Like, that's my point of view about auditions. I know it's hard when they go really long, you guys.
No, I think it's rude. I think it's not a good sign if they're super far behind. That means that something's happening with the director or whatever.
Something, right.
They're not being super professional, but...
it's your job.
Yeah, it's your job.
Be nice to the lobby person.
Be nice to them.
What are the biggest mistakes that you see actors make?
I would say this applies to the first call and the callback. People realize too late, or when the camera's rolling, that they don't know their blocking and they don't know their eye lines. And not that you need to get hung up, but you have to make sure you get that out of the way so that you can listen to the other stuff. Because I guarantee you, if you don't know where you're looking, or you don't know where you're supposed to move to or stop or stand, you won't hear the rest of the stuff.
No, because you're going to be worried about that the whole time.
So you can ask, you can help, but on set too, they don't care about telling you where your eye line's supposed to be. They just want it to look. So you have to make one up, and I'll be like, hey, I'm going to look at the assistant camera guy's earlobe. Is that cool? And they're like, oh yeah.
Sure, whatever. Well, this is a really big point that I'm always making to them, which is hard. I know it's hard, you guys, because we've done episodes about handling yourself on set. And it is really can be very scary because it feels like you're a guest in everyone else's party. And so it's hard then to show up and be like, so are we like going to open up these beers or what? Because I need one. Because you don't feel like it's your house or your party. And like it always feels like you're somebody's friend's friend who got dragged to this party.
Yeah.
And so you have to like have the confidence and also like the risk taking. I'm always trying to tell people that in the professionalism of this career, there's a risk taking just like there is in the art of it, where you have to be willing to sort of take a risk and have it maybe not work out. But usually taking the risk works out for you because at least you've taken the risk. And that happens when you're like, I need to know what I'm doing. So is there an eye line?
Knowing when to speak up, and you want to keep it as close to like getting ready to roll as possible. And
yes.
And the best is when you can just, when to take risks while the camera's rolling, and you can play and have fun. Like I just did it.
Well, that's great. That's what we're here for.
And then right before the camera rolls, you have to be able to take the risk of saying, okay, I've answered as many questions as I can by observing and knowing what I'm supposed to do. I can look there. I know that because they told both of us, or they said something about it, or somebody said something about it. It could even be the sound guy or the cinematographer talking.
Yeah.
You can pick up a lot of information about the shot, and then right before they, getting ready to roll, then you ask, "Hey, by the way, though, do I pick up the spatula, or do I leave it there? Because that hasn't been really established."
Right.
Oh, great. Because a lot of times they don't even think about it.
Well, they're not thinking about it. And if you're then weird, then it's just like everybody's weird. And so they're like, I feel like so many of them think of you like bears, like they're more scared of you than you are of them, and so, but you're also scared of them. And so everyone sort of is like, okay, good. And then they're like, action. And then you're like, blah, I don't understand spatula. And then you feel so special because you're like, I don't know what to do with a spatula. I forgot how to handle things with my hands. And then they're like, what happened to our actor? And like, can she not pick up a spatula? And then they're like, okay, cut. Audrey, so you can go and pick up. And you're like, right, I'm going to not be a special person on that one. I'm going to grab the spatula like a human being. So thank you.
Yeah, you almost have to be an aggressive, dumb person once you get to set.
Yes.
And be like, you guys, so I'm going to grab the spatula and just kind of dig in here.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, please don't do that. Okay, great.
Well, and that's another thing.
And then you seem like just innocently
Well, I would say
out.
that's another thing about knowing why I really recommend people to get into improv and sketch, even if you don't think of yourself as a funny person, is it can really help you to handle things with the sort of like off-the-cuff charm and humor, which can be disarming and also solve the problem. So I'm always like, hey, maybe I'm a jerk here, but I have no idea what I'm doing in this with this trash can. So what do you think? And then they're like, oh, right, the trash can. Yeah, you can just put it back there. And they're like, no, that's weird. Can we get another trash can in here? Do we have a smaller? And you're like, great, because I didn't think this trash can worked either. It's great.
That's a great way to approach it. I also think too, so on the other side of improv, a lot of commercial stuff is nonverbal. Yes. There's like voiceovers during it or whatever. What throws a lot of people off too is it'll be like a pharmaceutical commercial. It's like, oh, Tesla. And it'll be, gross people like with socks and like throwing a frisbee, and then they meet a girl and her back doesn't itch today, so she's feeling great. But the whole commercial, there's voiceover, and the actors are just doing the montage. Yeah. But in the audition, they don't play the music or the voiceover.
No, right.
Like I've even asked, do you want me to read the voiceover to help? Yeah, and they're like, no, because it'll be annoying. Nobody wants to listen to your voice 100 times on the link.
Right.
So we just want to see them. But that often means that they have to
really
do something, improvise. They have to talk. They have to do a scene.
Think it in their head a lot.
Here's the other thing actors will do wrong.
Okay.
Never mute yourself. Don't mime or lip sync dialogue.
Oh God, do they do that?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, it hurts
my
heart.
Because you think, oh, well, there's no dialogue written in the script. So that means my character has no ability to speak.
Right.
And that's not true.
No, right.
No one ever intended that to be true.
Yeah.
And it's the actor. There's a legitimate question of like, oh, I guess they don't want us to talk.
Right.
And the thing is, again, you're just trying to win that first audition. No, please talk. Seem like a real person. That's
also a question that you have to have the risk to be able to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just...
And I'll say that a lot of times if I'm doing an explanation,
Right.
and I know that this is happening, or I'll be like,
Right.
please speak.
Right.
You don't need to, and I'll like lip mime something.
Well,
like,
also you don't have to make it like a giant scene, you know. But like,
well, what happens is when you rob yourself
right.
of your voice, you tend to overcompensate by gesturing bigger, and and that's bad.
Yeah.
And even because sometimes, and here's the other side of that coin, you also have to be able to do the non-improv verbal audition. So if somebody wants to do, like I was just auditioning this thing where they wanted somebody to be looking at things longingly, and there's all these things that keep popping up, and each one is more longing and more longing. Sometimes the improv people answer every challenge because there's no dialogue again, and there's there's 4 moments you have to hit. Well, they can't help themselves. They have to give a little verbal
something
jump in there, improv for every moment.
Right.
Like, oh boy, come on, really? Oh, I just have,
It's hard.
And sometimes that works.
Yeah.
But you also have to have in your back pocket the ability to answer those questions or those challenges non-verbally. That doesn't mean without sound. You can still make sound. So longing can be,
That's his longing.
Sorry if that sounds a little...
That's why it's 3 children,
That's
you guys.
Right. But and you have to know, this is like a nonverbal, but I can make sound. This is a nonverbal, but I can talk.
Right.
And this is where I can improv.
Right.
Because they also want to flesh it out and have fun.
And that's something, I just want to just continue to communicate to you guys. You can ask that. It's perfectly fine for you to ask that in the first session. What I love so much about commercial callbacks is the session runner will come out and tell you what they need because they're like, this callback is really going south, you guys. And so they'll come out and they'll be like, so we're noticing the first 10 people that we called back that we were really excited about are bombing. That's the subtext. So now we figured out we need a little bit more verbal acknowledgement, and they seem to be responding to that more. And so you then can say, yeah, in the first call, we were talking a little bit. Is talking okay? And then you can go, because sometimes they've had 3 different days of sessions. And on session day 1, they did no talking. Session day 2, they did verbal And verbal day 3, they did actual oh, good to see you. Verbal talking. And they don't know who was part of which day. And so you can say, in my first call, we were sort of able to acknowledge people and be like, hey, good to see you. Is that something we're doing? And in my experience, they're always like, yeah, exactly. Or they'll be like, no. Yeah, so they're really not responding to that.
Yeah.
They really just facial expressions. Don't be a clown, but and that's a good time to talk to them. But also, they're not making the decision. This is an important thing for people to know. The session runner is not the person in charge. So if you sit there and waste the session runner's time with your questions because you're trying to sound smart and cool, which happens and makes all of us horrified as we watch you try to do that, that person is not
It
making
also
any
makes
decisions.
me not want to help you.
Yes.
So these are great questions to have in your mind.
Yes.
But then listen to the session director's explanation and any notes, because a lot of those questions that you're making this little checklist of will be answered.
Yes.
So if 8 of them are answered, don't ask 8 questions. Ask 2.
Right.
And if you ask all 8, then I'm going to kind of
be like, this fucking girl.
My brow will lower, my eyes will go a little slack, and I'll say, yeah.
And
then you get 1 take, because now I don't have time
to do your shit. Yeah.
To give you another, because you spend it all
asking me 8 questions.
Asking me the stuff I just explained to you.
Not only that, I will say for me, in the callback, you guys, I have booked because of session runners, for sure. How can actors make your job easier?
The big thing is listen during the explanation. Because I have experience on both sides, I have the ability to kind of I'll do a little demo of it at 60%, where here's the moments you want to hit, or here's the eye lines. That's a great time to have a reaction there, which you can make your own, but here's a great time to do that. I give you the signposts, for it. But I don't know, to make my job easier, it's just that because here's the thing, I get a lot of pressure from casting directors to go super fast. No, to go super fast. Some casting directors, I will get hired when they have an improv job.
Right.
Or it's they really want something funny.
Yeah.
We'll call Derek in because he's got growlings on his resume.
Yeah, sure.
And it's really just about, I can work with you, I can play with you if they give me time to play. Most of the time, they want quantity. So they can show off I called in 100 people. You have 100 choices. And they will blame me if they get behind Not them, not like, hey, well, you shouldn't have given me 2.5 minutes per person.
Right.
When there's 3 scenes and there's dialogue and all stuff,
Yes.
And again, that's not their fault. So I still want to give you a good take, and I want to give you the good description. So I'm trying to boil down the description as quickly as I can to satisfy the casting director, but I don't want to rip you off because I have, I'm on the other side of the camera.
And you want to help them look good too.
Yeah.
Like they're hiring you to.
Right. And that's the thing that I have to balance is that the casting director will get a bad day.
Yes.
And then it's like, well, they're not happy with this day. And they can blame it on me.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I want to give them a good day. I want to go fast, but I also want, so I want to give that time. So just know that I am putting myself on the line to give you a thorough explanation that most casting directors do. And all the time, especially a lot of older actors will be like, wow, that was a great explanation. Really nice. And like shake my hand.
Yeah, that's funny.
which is nice. You have to do that.
Right.
But that's what I mean. I'm putting myself on the line to give you a thorough, because it also keeps me interested.
I think that's a really interesting point too that you made about having to really go fast, because I do like lots of impressions of commercial session runners, and they're always like just the general malaise of like.
Well, we're always given the impossible task.
Yes, but
a lot of times.
But you get everyone. Like the big difference between theatrical and commercial is that to get into theatrical rooms, you really had to earn to get into that room. But literally anybody can be brought in for a commercial. Do you ever know who's going to book it?
Yeah, I'm usually in the ballpark of like
2 to 3 people.
Like the so if you're put on a veil, I don't know if your listeners know.
Yes.
But that means that they've made a first choice, a backup, and sometimes a second backup or whatever. And that means if you put on a veil, that means you're one of 3. Right. They're not going to tell you which one of those 3 because they want to keep everybody available.
Right. And just so you guys know, SAG-AFTRA does not recognize a veil. It means nothing.
Yeah.
But it does mean something.
Yeah.
But it
sure be nice if they had to pay for that. Yeah, they put you on that link and then, you're... So I usually know... Like, I usually be like, oh, they're going to be on a veil.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm off, like, and I get really, bothered. The last shot we just did, there's the guy that's going to be the main,
main guy in the commercial, the hero guy.
Excuse me. The guy they had on as, like, their second choice or potentially first choice. I was like, nope. But I got to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah,
it's not my decision.
Right.
But it's cool, because sometimes when you work with certain casting directors, and then I work with certain directors, I'll have the director say to me, what do you think, Derek, about their performance? Because they've worked with me a lot, and they know that I've been there for all 3 auditions and the callback. Yeah. Sometimes I know the actors. I know, I've seen them in other things or whatever. Right. And I would say that, a lot of the times the commercial people that are coming in are super talented.
Yes.
And there's a buzz that's made about sometimes.
How super talented they are.
Or like, they're coming in. They're really good at blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Yeah. What do the bookers have in common, do you feel?
They're just comfortable in the room.
Yeah.
They just make you feel like they get it. They got it.
Chill.
They're just natural. And it's like a stand-up is always taking you to the next joke. And you're with them, but you're still surprised at the punchline. And so a good commercial, or on-camera actor will be able to, when they say go and you have this short amount of time, boom, they're already in it. They give you something great, and then they'll surprise you, or they'll, they give you a little surprise.
And even if you're an awkward actor, like even if your shtick is that you're uncomfortable and awkward, there's still a sense of confidence that is your shtick. Does a slate matter?
I mean, it can only reveal if you're super green, I guess. I mean, yeah, that'll be as I'm compiling my mental book about on-camera acting. One chapter is definitely going to be dedicated to the all-star slates, where people have like learned little tips in a class. So here's another thing you don't realize: like if it's a group slate and there's 4 of you, as soon as I push, what I do is I widen out to capture all 4, because the very moment I push record, the first thing is that makes a thumbnail of the 4 of you, and that's what goes up first. Just it looks better instead of some midway through somebody's face, So that's my first image. And the cast directors, a lot of times they want everybody looking at the camera, and the worst thing is when I can't get everyone looking, and I'll say everyone looking right here, but sometimes people don't, because they learn in some class. They'll be looking at the person that slates first. Like it's a 90s sitcom where you like turn into camera.
I hi, honey.
And it's like it's like they're acting if
that's
their name
funny.
appears below them.
Yes, right.
And so they're like, so I slate the first person. As I slide over to the next person, they're looking at the first person and smiling, like,
Oh,
that's
gosh.
really great. Hi, I'm Derek Mehn. And we just happen to catch you in a moment of looking
Oh,
at.
shit, that's funny.
But they do it every time.
Yeah.
And I know it's rehearsed.
Yes.
That's a little something for me that I like to stew on. But it's really just the slate is just, again, throw it away. Just say, you can say
funny.
hi and your name.
Yes.
Don't say your agents.
No.
Don't say your agency. You don't have to do a slate or show me your hands unless I ask you.
Right.
You don't have to show me your profiles and,
I was also going to say, you don't have to try so hard.
No, in the slate, yeah, please do. You
Please
don't have
don't.
to be bouncy.
Right.
It's like the Vanessa Bayer on SNL. And she's like, and that's the news. And she's like, hi. Yeah, you don't have to, don't push it. Yeah.
Please, yeah. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the big one is like, because Audrey is a font. Is it font or fount? I think it's
I don't
font
know.
of information. I'm going to say it. I'm gonna
Yeah,
declare
a
it
font
here.
of information sounds better.
And
right.
I mean, she's incredible.
You guys.
With her approach. So, but I will say that in trying to cross over,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I obviously you probably have a chip on your shoulder in the opposite direction, but I have a little chip on my shoulder when I go into theatrical, in that they don't even know what they're looking for, and no one's looking at a monitor and all these things, and I just feel like dead inside. I feel like everybody's dead inside, and nobody cares, and they just want. And I already feel at a disadvantage because I don't feel like I have a look. Like they've already cast the threatening white guy as the lead.
I understand. Right. Yes.
And I'm in there, and they're like, "Well, I guess you're almost. If you had more salt and pepper,
right.
then yeah,
Yeah.
but you don't. So I'm not really sure what you're doing here. Your agency said you were funny, but
Yeah.
we don't really need you to be.
Right.
We just want you to say, I got these shoes.
Right.
You
Would
know.
you like to try them on?
Yeah, so
That's it. Yeah.
I find, and I know there's all the metrics, and unfortunately the blow up of the workshops
Yes.
happened at the wrong time for me. But
Yes.
other than like creating your own material, to me that's the only other workaround.
I don't have that for you.
To get to that, when you're saying you want to get to that level where
That
then
next
they're
level.
excited to see you in the room.
Well, I think like when we're going to talk about you, we have to talk really about like what's interesting about talking to you and talking to everyone individually is we have to acknowledge what I feel like is your personal life situation. So like if you were a single guy, you didn't have a wife and 3 kids, and you weren't about to buy a house, like you and I would have a totally different conversation.
Right, about how to spend all the free time that I would have.
Yeah, it's free time and the money from your commercials, right?
Yep.
And so part of what always sort of tugs at my heartstrings a little when I'm talking to people who are actor parents who have like real true financial considerations that the commercial world is able to fulfill for them.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to get that same financial gain is a much longer road than it is in the commercial world. Right. And so I always feel it's hard for me to feel like I can communicate to you your direction because you guys, I like love his children more than you guys should know. I have this feeling of like, yeah, but Derek, I really need you to make rent. So like I have that feeling. What I do really understand with where you are is that I was there. Mm-hmm. Like, I just want you to know that. Like I used to go into theatrical auditions and just feel not like everyone wasn't dead inside, but more like I was eating like the saddest soup of all time. Like it was so sad. And it wasn't the soup you had lived your whole life excited to eat. It's certainly not the soup that you get to enjoy in class, and it's not even the soup that pays you a lot of money like commercials. So it's just sad, not quite cold, not quite hot soup. And so much of that, I really think I really need to acknowledge your background in improv and comedy, because I do know that the degree to which that really helps people in the commercial world is also the degree to which it really will destroy actors in the theatrical world. Because when you are such a skilled improviser, and you guys should know Derek's also a writer, so you really understand story is what I want to say. Like, you understand story, and a lot of people don't. And what can happen in that sort of like building from phase 1 to phase like well and deep to the phase 2 actors is that you have to eat cold soup for a while. Like you have to eat sad soup for a while. And it feels so much worse than if you hadn't already lived so many years like devouring like the heartiest stew of your life. That sort of bump into it being lovely feels really slow, really sad, and really soul crushing. I really totally know what you're talking about. And so much of that is because not only did I do so many years of improv, but I also did so many years of theater, and I'm such like an imagination girl. But also what I love about sets and about the Hollywood world is like, I love that I don't have to use my imagination. Like something literally blows up in front of me. And I'm like, that's awesome. And I feel like I don't have to do anything. If you're going to actually blow shit up, then I'll just be scared when you actually blow it up, right? But when you get into these rooms, these theatrical rooms, you know, especially for these smaller parts, like I just don't know why the two worlds don't talk to each other more. Yeah. Like the commercial world, they come out and you guys are like, so listen, everybody blew it yesterday. Here's what we need. I need you guys to look here at the wall and say this line. If you say it too mean, it goes like this. If you say it too soft, then it's like this. So the tone is really, and you guys are like, let me tell you how to book this job, right? And then you'll also be like, and then we'll give you a tick and maybe blah, 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 and we'll see what happens. And there's no reason that can't happen for these co-star roles and just save everybody a lot of time, that somebody can't come out and be like, hey guys, so just so you know, with these 3 lines, like you're not confused. I know it seems like with the sides, like it seems like maybe you're a little confused, but she's actually not confused. It's more like this. And then you'll see everyone go like, oh, because I thought it was confused. Yeah, no, because the lines sound like that. And also when you come from theater, you're used to this incredible writing, like you talked about, like this 1950s. Arthur Miller spent 2 years writing a masterpiece. And so you're used to like some work, like you're used to like some, I mean, it's just like grace, right? And the sides that they wrote for your procedural co-star, they wrote at like 3:00 in the morning. They're super fucked up by then. Like they're so drunk and probably high by that time. And their marriages are falling apart. And it's like bad news bears, you guys. And the sides that they gave you for your 3-line co-star, that they're pretty sure they're going to cut that anyway. Your character's probably going to be cut. And if they make it, they're going to change those lines anyway. So that's hard when you are as powerful of a performer as you already are.
Yeah, it surprises me that they don't run the same, or that it's just not mixed. Like,
it's not.
But it's because they're locked into shows, and I get.
Well, no. Can I tell you what I think it is?
Yeah.
I think it's that nobody is trying to pretend that commercials are art. And people are...
Well, it's so weird because the directors don't treat it that way. Because a lot of the directors will work across the mediums.
That's correct. But what I'm saying as far as like how it's run, like nobody will dare come out to an actor before they've auditioned and tell them how to do it, because that's just sacrilege in a theatrical world.
Yes, right.
But
there's something
but
very
if it's for
old
Kellogg's,
school.
right? It's like, listen, this is Kellogg's. We're not doing art. You're selling cereal. So if you could actually eat the cereal but don't hold the bowl in front of your face, that would help everybody out a lot.
Right. But what's funny is that you get to something more fun that way. But
sure.
I agree. I mean,
do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I just think it's funny.
I think it's hilarious, but it's also because the casting worlds really don't mix. And there's also
it's like
some
it's
fascinating...
casting where it's like, well, if you do commercials, then you can't do. They're two
But also,
different
that's
worlds.
old. Like, that's what's so crazy is that's actually like 20 years old where that was a thing.
Right.
It's so not a thing anymore.
Right.
And I do say that there aren't a ton that don't cross over, but that's actually not a talent issue. What it usually is, I find, is that the people who've gained momentum in theatrical then don't really feel like they need to put momentum into commercials.
That's
and
true.
the people who have momentum in commercials don't feel like they can afford to then get the momentum in theatrical.
Right.
Because if you book one commercial, that's often the equivalent of 15 guests or 15 co-stars.
Right.
So
yeah.
So it's
I know
very
it's true. Yeah.
it's very hard financially
a lot of
for
people,
commercial actors.
Yeah, and it's true. But now, so are there any tips, like,
Yes.
more specifically,
For you.
not just the soul-crushing nature
Yes.
of...
I just wanted to sort of acknowledge that for you.
the
Because,
staircase that doesn't exist.
Right.
But, like...
Right.
But, yeah, no,
Yes.
and I think you're totally right.
Yes.
And that's definitely good to know.
Yeah.
Makes me feel less alone. Thank
yes,
you.
Yes.
But, so, like, as we're talking about tips in the room...
Yes.
What would you say the differences are when you adjust when you go into theatrical audition?
Yes.
What are your expectations? What do you adjust when you get the copy and you're in the room?
So I would say there are definitely different rules. So it's really funny that she told you, like, if you could just look at me, because that is a rule for theatrical that you have to play by.
Right.
And it is weird. And there are, like, some tricks kind of that you can do. But generally the rule is, unless it's something very specific, like somebody's
Bang.
calling for you
Yeah,
over
right.
there,
Okay, sure.
everyone's the same person. And so sometimes what I do, here's the thing, Derek, is you, and this is true for a lot of you guys, this is going to sound really harsh to the network people, and I don't mean it to be, because I understand what we're doing here. You have a high standard. You know a neutral scene? Do you know what a neutral scene is? Okay, so a neutral scene is where you strip away any of the given circumstances, and literally all you have is the lines. And you can actually change anything to be whatever you want it to be. And the fact of the matter is that nobody has any idea that you've done that, because it doesn't matter. So if you can find a way to make those three people one person, make those three people one person. It's going to be hard, but I feel, and this is where I think you can get really excited because you're such a creative problem solver.
It's like when a chef deconstructs
Correct.
a recipe and
Yes.
presents it to you in a different way.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I would say, it's what I've really learned for theatrical problem solving is that there's what you will do when you film. Okay. And then there's separately what is written. And when they're writing so that producers don't get bored. And then when they're shooting, they're going to shoot what makes sense to tell the story. But then when you're auditioning, your job is to find out how you can solve in this very flat, non-prop, non-set, non-existent person not really paying attention to while they read, and solve what the writer and the director and showrunner know they're going to need in the filming of it that you can then give in the audition, but at the level that the audition can receive it.
Right.
It's kind of like Jenga, right? Like everyone's going to sort of take out these pieces called people paying attention to you and acting with you, and also,
And
having a
props
car,
or a chair.
having, whatever it is,
Right.
or loud music that bumps and like you'd be dancing or whatever, or three people in your scene and you really only get to talk to one, right? So it's reading the script, which I know you have the ability to do, and finding like, okay, well, what are the elements here that storytelling wise they really need to see from me? And not only that, but then what am I, Derek, going to serve in this? Because a lot of what you're going to get, sort of like commercially, you're not right for it necessarily. But I'd say unlike commercially, because you're not like selling a product, there is a way that if they're bringing you into the room, you can solve it for you. Like, and maybe you're not the choice that they were thinking of, but oftentimes you're an interesting choice.
No, I like that
Right?
idea of trying to come up with a new way to solve
Yeah, it's
without getting to use the trappings of a
of
more
all that
luxurious
stuff. Yes.
commercial edition where there's more money spent on it.
Yes.
So
exactly.
solve it, make it make sense. It's like Christopher Walken blacking out all the punctuation.
Yes.
Right.
And here's the other thing too, which is like why I think it's also really hard for commercial actors to transition into theatrical and vice versa, is because you know how now that you're doing commercials, you pay attention to commercials and you really follow products and you follow campaigns and you follow styles and you follow trends and you even follow like, everyone's wearing this kind of outfit now, and like that says young dad now. Mm-hmm. Now it's the sweater. Last year it was the flannel, right?
Right.
It takes that much focus for theatrical. And so it can be hard to then start spending your time on the other one. Mm-hmm. And it's a little momentum sort of thing that you have because you've got so much momentum in the noticing and following and watching of commercials, and you need to be able to put as much time and energy into putting that momentum into theatrical. So when people say like create your own projects, I'm not against creating your own projects, but I also say like if you just spent the time that you would spend in creating your own projects into actually just watching what the fuck is happening in the theatrical world, you wouldn't even have to, you just spend like an eighth of the time and you, Derek, would start working. I think what you really have is more of a interesting lifestyle thing. I really do. And I think like that to me is like more your harder hurdle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for in general, for commercial people that are successful commercially, not just me.
Yes.
But transitioning. I really like that where you have to
solve the problem.
Look at the script and be able to deliver it without all of the blocking and all of the, non-dialogue
Here's
things.
a really good example. Can I tell you a really good example from me personally? One of the auditions I had that I booked, and I'm very lucky because I have Jesse, who's a director, and and I'll work with him, and he has the director eye, right? But I auditioned for Code Black, and in the audition, in the script, it says coughing profusely, like they're coughing so much. And they're so sick that then they die. And it's part of this outbreak. So for me, from the actor's standpoint, the like theater trained actor, they've written in the script coughing so much and then later she dies. So I was like coughing. Like when I was working, I was like, I'm like, I am dying. I'm coughing so much, right? Now my dad had lung cancer, so I know like the dying cough sound. So I'm like giving it, right? And Jesse's like, you can't do it like that. And I'm like, and I'm fighting with him. I'm like, the script says coughing profusely, can barely talk, and then she dies. I'm like really pleading my case.
And there's no dialogue.
There's dialogue,
okay, at the
but it's like she can't talk. She's like coughing so much. It's how the script is delineating it, right? The script is writing that out for you as the story. So as the actor really wanting to serve the story, that's how I'm sure everyone did it. And Jesse said, the lead is the person who's talking to you, and they're a doctor, and their job is to help you be well, not to kill you. But despite their trying to keep you well, you die. Now, if you're coughing this much...
We can't hear them.
No, it wasn't even that. He said, if you're coughing this much and they're spending any time asking you, because it was like, tell me about your symptoms. Where were you eating? Did you eat anything? Did you hang out? Where were you standing? Because they're trying to find out, like solve the mystery, right? He says, if she's asking you these questions while you're coughing like that, she's a bitch. Like she needs to be like, obviously we have a major emergency situation in our hand. I cannot ask her about the food that she ate earlier. I need to get her on like respiratory, and we need to not have this scene.
But yeah, that's exactly what the script says.
But what the script said, but also the script is being written for the producers to read. So because the producers need to read and have in their imagination, major problem. But they're not hearing somebody cough, and they're not watching it to see like, oh, that doctor. They just read that line, coughing profusely, barely able to speak. And then they imagine in their imagination, like, this girl's really sick. Okay. Now, when we shoot it.
Yeah. So what happened when you shot it?
So when I shot it, I get all these things. Like I get like blood that I'm like coughing up, and I get like all the, I get to like have these moments, right? And they're sticking things down my throat. It's like it becomes very
knocking
clear,
over a tray and,
all this stuff, right?
Right.
I don't have that in the audition, but because I'm still skeptical at this point with Jesse and his like whatever bullshit direction that he's got. So I go into the audition, and I do this a lot, you guys, and I really recommend it. If you have a choice that you feel a little like unconfident about, but like you're going to give it a go, a really easy thing, instead of asking like, you don't like, there's this thing about asking for permission. So you don't ask for permission. I tell them what I'm going to do. So I sat down and I said, hey, so I know on the script it says she's coughing profusely, and both of the casting directors simultaneously started shaking their head no. Like, please, whatever you do not cough profusely. And I said, right, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be like sick and struggling for breath. If you need more coughing, let me know. We can do another take. And that lets them know, like, I've thought about it. But also I gave them the option of being like, yeah. So I can be like, it says coughing profusely. And they could have been like, yeah, that.
Right.
But they weren't. They were like, please don't.
Yeah.
Please, we don't need another person about to die. Then we can't barely say our lines, right? So that's such a great example of what the problem-solving thing was. That they had written a draft. The writers write a draft for producers and network to read. I then have to figure out, story-wise, what do I need to show so that the story is being taken into consideration at the more directorial level, not at the writers wrote this stage direction for producers to get a feel. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And it's very tricky because when you come from theater, if Arthur Miller wrote it, you paid attention to what he wrote. So it's very interesting, and that's sort of the interesting problem solving that you have to do. Now, personally, I think it would be magical if when they did the audition, they said, guys, we're going to give you this script. We know it says coughing profusely. Just a little less on that.
Yeah. Right.
Just back off on that. And then everyone could go in and back off on that. And then you'd have 20 really great options instead of like just Audrey, who's the only person who's with somebody who's a director who is like, maybe don't look like you're going to die. Right. But that really is keeping in mind the person who's the lead.
Yeah.
And what's the story? And when you're like when you've been doing improv, you've been doing sketch, you've been doing plays, when you're just similarly to like commercials, right? Where you said like, you're used to being the star. And then when you start to have these other roles, how do you adjust your importance as a performer, knowing that the story isn't about me dying in that moment? It's about, I need to give that doctor clues because they're going to solve this outbreak.
Yeah.
So what's really important in this scene is that I give them the clues.
Yeah.
And then I seem unhealthy enough that it's believable that then I start coughing in a way that I'm hacking up blood, and then they have their fingers around their throat, and then I lose my life.
Right.
Do you see
and
what
I
I'm
would
saying?
say you also have to do that because I'm aware of that. I don't mind playing the bit part.
Yeah, sure,
I
right.
book commercials now,
right,
where I'm just
the
waiter
guy
passing through,
Yeah,
or the guy
right.
holding the hose.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't usually get those because
Yes.
those are usually a look that I.
Well, so here's
It's not
the
interesting
next thing
enough.
that we'll talk about, which
And
is your
I
casting.
think it's also another thing because I'm still going to get called in theatrically for comedy stuff.
Yes.
There's not usually those type of life or death things to solve in a co-star comedy.
Yes.
It's usually you are talking to somebody.
Right.
You know.
Well, the co-star comedy thing, I mean, that's something that we just have to talk about with your casting in general.
But is there a broader way to paint it for
comedy?
Yeah, for commercial people that are good at comedy.
Yes.
Then going after theatrical comedies.
Yeah, I mean,
and a co-star where it's a couple lines and you're talking to the lead.
What you guys are going to notice for commercial, and this is probably why because there are people who straddle both lines, but what they have in common that you don't have is that they're character actors. And the thing that, if you notice when you're looking at comedy co-stars and the people who have like 60 comedy co-stars, is that what they're doing is so naturally interesting that they can just say 3 lines and it's naturally really interesting and funny. If you are like a little bit more normal, like you and me, there's ways to do things so that you are a little bit more charactery. You know, I could get like a really weird bowl haircut and that could just like really solve it for me.
True. Yeah, right.
You know,
Okay,
it really
okay.
could.
Yeah.
But so that was a choice I had to decide whether or not I was going to do that, literally, you know.
It's like getting a tattoo on your face. Or
Yeah,
something.
you could have like a weird, long, wiry mustache,
yeah.
and you could go in that direction.
Right.
But so those are the sort of choices that we have to sort of look at and make,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I do think that what your issue is, which is true for a lot of people, is that you're really more of a guest star lead actor. And in order to get into the guest star leads, you have to then book the co-stars.
Right.
And what a lot of co-stars are having a trouble with is that they have the capacity to be lead actors and they never get the opportunities because everyone's like, you're just so interesting that I'll give you 3 lines and you solve all of my problems. So here's what I recommend for you personally in that. So you have a couple options. One is to do what I said, which is to just enhance your look to look really weird. But know that will affect your commercial casting. Another thing that you can do, which I tell a lot of people to do, is to start really considering period looks. But that's really going to mean that you need to then shoot some footage, shoot some headshots. Yeah, you have a great period look. You and I are period actors all day, every day. And for all periods, like you can do anything, right? But you do sort of like anything, you have to sort of like have one that people are like, oh, you're in a period. And then from that, then people are like, he did the 1950s, he can do any of them, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I got to get I'm the alienist. So
Yeah.
you're saying, or if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying I should take my family, move to London,
to London.
and then be the American guy
Yes,
in London that could
right.
do a London accent.
Yes,
But
that's
is the
exactly
American
what
guy.
I'm saying you should do.
Got it. All right. Let me send a
all
text
right,
out
okay,
real
good.
quick.
Or-
Pack everything tonight.
Or
Send.
easier than that, I don't know what your theatrical representation situation is, but I do think that you need people who can get you on a couple of shows that I think that you could be a co-star on. Like you can be a co-star or a guest star on Silicon Valley. Like you could do that tomorrow, but you need people who are actually going to get you in for Silicon Valley.
So would you say that then maybe, maybe a reel helps you get there?
A
if you
real
don't
can
have
help
any
you get there.
But if you don't have these co-stars to
Right.
jam together a bunch of like, there's me with this famous person,
Yes.
there's me with this famous person. Would you say then you could shoot something self-created or
Yes.
to look like that,
Yeah.
that hits that says, and would that help you leapfrog past a very mediocre
Well,
representation?
I would say more importantly, it would help you leapfrog past.
Right.
Like, I don't think you're going to have to spend much time at all in phase one as a theatrical actor. I think what you're experiencing is what a lot of people experience, which is that your capacity is so far beyond phase one. But getting through and past phase one is like a really, like legitimate in sort of like a mathematical way.
Right.
Difficult for you because of your type and because of many different reasons. But I'd say if you looked at it more like a game of you just have to get like 3 co-stars in 1 year on something that anyone will recognize, then in doing so, I think you will have enough momentum and footage and sort of cachet to start to now compete with your talent, now actually to work with your talent level, and you'll go up to deep phase 2, phase 3, I think in no time. But what it will require from you in a lifestyle hurdle is going to be putting some focus on the momentum of theatrical and being willing to take your foot off the gas pedal of the commercial zone and know that that may equal for a second a little bit of a loss in funds.
Yeah. Right. Financial discomfort.
Financial discomfort. It was a year of really financial discomfort for me.
Right.
And that was really hard. What I had to make the decision of is like, what am I here for? And that's a personal decision that you're going to have to ask yourself, because I really believe that I could have a living in commercials for the rest of my life. And that sounded fine. And I love commercials. I have a really great time doing them. Also, just creatively, this sort of work that I wanted to be really doing. And that's where I get like pained for you, is I just think like your talent and your capacity is being used at like 12% right now. And what's really great is I think even if you just were able to show that 12% to the theatrical world, everyone would really take advantage of you and you could really start to show yourself. So how's that?
That's great. Yeah.
Is that helpful at
It's
all?
good. Yeah. It's good.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
though,
it's the
about
same
like
thing you were saying as being in the room.
Exactly.
You have to be able to solve this problem that may not be exactly how it seems.
Yes,
You
that's
have to
right.
strip it down, deconstruct it, and
Yes.
solve it for that.
Yes.
Same thing outside the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you get that, because I'm always trying to tell people it's the same creative process.
Yeah.
It's always the same creative process, but it doesn't feel like it. But the creative problem solving that you'll have to do to just get that little bit of momentum for those 2 or 3 bookings to then get you into the theatrical push
Yeah.
is the same creative process
I
that
was
you've already been through.
ready, Audrey. I had a spreadsheet all ready for those workshops, and then
I know, and then they
goddamn
fucking-
Scott, what's his
I
name?
know,
blew it up. Yeah.
I mean, I do have lots of feelings about you as a writer too. Like, I do feel like I think you could be Joel McHale tomorrow. Like,
right.
I really do. Like, I think you could be a head on a writing staff. You could lead a writing staff. You can have a really good time running a half-hour show where you're basically doing stand-up, and then you can get your own series afterwards. Like, I think that you have the magnificent financial potential. Like, if I were looking for an actor to invest in, I would invest in you. The only reason I wouldn't invest in you is because I wouldn't be sure if you have the guts to take the financial hit given your lifestyle situation to do that.
Yeah. Right.
That'd be the only reason I wouldn't invest in you.
Right.
It's also fine for you to create a 3-year plan. I mean, you have a 1-year-old right now. And once that 1-year-old gets to be 4, you're going to be fine. And it's fine for me if you're like, okay, these next 3 years, what I'm going to do, get this house, take a bunch of fucking financial momentum. I'm going to stash it. I'm going to set it over there so that I can give myself a year to not worry about my commercial bookings. And you'll probably still book 1 or 2 commercials, but just to start to have a plan of focus in mind for yourself to then be able to go in the direction of theatrical. And that's really what I did. I had to have a financial plan. I set money aside, and then I spent a year or 2 really just building credits to have some theatrical momentum. And then once I had that, now I have really great theatrical statistics, but it was hard. It's emotionally very hard.
Right.
Because it's very scary. And I don't have children, So how's that plan?
That's good.
Right? Because you're not going to grow out of your casting. You're only going to go further into your casting.
Yeah.
And so I'm not worried about like you're missing some fucking boat opportunity. What I do worry about is like you not having some plans of momentum going as you're running the commercial world.
Right. Yeah.
But if anything, you can see what you've done in the commercial world. Most people don't do in the commercial world, but you're so skilled at problem solving and then executing that I'm not worried about you once you make the decision to do that. But you're going to have to make the decision.
Yeah.
Okay. How's that?
That was really good, Oprah.
That's all I ever want to hear. Okay, why acting? We'll go quick.
I think it was originally to get, it's the same thing I think I've heard other people say on here. I used to listen to I liked Adam Sandler did his a child of the 90s. Adam Sandler had his comedy CDs. Mm-hmm. And they just cracked me up. And I think that's when I let my mom listen to them. And it cracked her up. And I think that was originally a thing. Watching TV shows with my mom and seeing what made her laugh. Because a lot of times she was, severe. And that was a nice
relief
change when we're watching the first season of Seinfeld or something like that, Also a big part probably was when I got to middle school and they were doing all the all school musical. And I got to be doing something where girls were like, oh wow, you're interesting, when before that I was just like the acne guy,
right,
with the wire rim glasses and a bowl cut
before he became just so handsome that he was unlikable. You guys.
Yeah, then it was just unlikable and off-putting appearance wise. So yeah, that was probably a big part of it. Good. And then it takes a while to get over that.
Right. What's the best part about this business? There is none.
I think, what's fun is really impressing people on set. I like that. Because really you're like the last thought, because everybody else is, has all these jobs and they're very specific. And then they just want you to get them home.
That's true.
I had a guy after Time Warner Cable commercial be like, thanks man, that was really a beast, dialogue and all that, and walking the camera and talking, and because of you I get to go he said, because of you I get to go to my kid's soccer game today.
Oh my God.
I thought we were going to be here forever because they kept changing the script and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So the best part is letting that man see his son. But I mean, it's more like having those moments where nobody wants to say it to you as an actor, but they are depending on you to deliver.
They're definitely,
and they don't want to put that pressure on you. And the director tries all these things not to do it, or they do it really brazenly and just call you out. And but it's being able to kind of remain cool under fire and then still be able to explode.
And what's the worst part about the business for you?
everything else.
Okay, good. Okay,
I don't like promoting.
Yeah.
I don't like sometimes trying to.
It's sort of competitive.
It's weird when I get on set. I want to
You do.
crush it.
Yeah.
And I want to do something
Yeah.
explosive and fun.
Yeah.
But to get there, I don't want to have to fight
Step on
everybody
people.
and, step on people or
interesting.
out schmooze someone.
And what I will just say to you about that, just for you, because you have like a major fucking attitude problem when it comes to all that stuff, and it does hold you back. I mean, unfortunately, and I know that you know that. And what I want to say to you about that is that everyone has their version of that works for them.
Yeah.
And you just have to find out what that and get over whatever anyone else is doing that bugs you.
Oh yeah, no,
And,
it's just getting in the room with the right people, and I just have to be more creative in getting in the room, and
But I also
and
think
then
you
it's
have
okay.
this idea like about that's not real. Like there are people who schmooze their way to the middle, I guess, but those are usually that's really only because one of their skills is schmoozing. It's not like schmoozing like dirty. It's just like they're really good at chatting with people and hanging out with them and finding out what they're working on and being interested in it and being an obvious addition to that thing. And that is fine. And I think you're thinking of it like this separate thing than what you sort of have already naturally done in the commercial world, which is just building relationships, having consistency, having a discussion with people and making yourself available, and people know what your skills are, and those people start to then call you in for those specific skills and a reliability and a dependability, and then people are working with you to help cover you when you need to go to other things.
right.
And
Yeah, no, it's the same thing. It's
it's
just
the exact same thing.
slippery.
It's not slippery. That's what I
Yeah.
would say. It's not. I think you just have an attitude problem about it. But I think that you should know it's from where I stand, it's not different. What do you wish somebody had taught you or managed to get you to understand when you were just a wee babe entering this business?
I wish somebody would have pushed me to start, Groundlings earlier or stick with comedy. You don't have to go to Playhouse West for 5 years or whatever. Get out of there.
Right.
Do something else. Put these things on tape or do this or whatever. Like a mentor that just kind of was like, here's what I see you as. Whether
Go in
it's
that direction.
you got an attitude problem. You're.
Mildly interesting. Everyone blinks on
Is that a
mildly interesting.
question, or
I
is
feel
that-
like we.
I
do
thought
this-
you literally were saying
I
a
want you
person's
to
name
know,
like Miley Cyrus.
No.
I was like, Miley
Here's
who?
what's amazing about this question is, I mean, you've listened to this podcast. Everyone I have on here has listened to the podcast, and I always
and I
say
never remember the question.
mildly interesting, and everyone looks at me with such a blank fucking stare. Like I've just said, I'm going to molest your child, and you're like, what?
But I mean, a couple prepositions wouldn't kill you. I know you're trying to brand, but
No.
Okay, it's Loquat season.
Loquat? I don't even know what
Loquats
that
are
is.
little. They grow all around. You'll walk out this street and you'll find a loquat tree within a couple blocks. I guarantee you.
Okay.
They're delightful, native to China and Japan. But they're these delightful little things you can eat with the skin on or off. Don't eat the seeds; they're poisonous.
Don't do it.
But trying to come up with everything I find is you just eat them raw. They're delicious,
Love
sweet,
it.
little tart.
Love it.
But everything's like just put them in a crumble like you do with every other fruit.
Right.
Nah, I'm trying to come up with a way to more interestingly. I may have just started watching Chef's Table on Netflix
Pinterest,
or not.
Try Pinterest.
But yeah, I just want to find this way to make the Loquats, have its moment. Because it's a tree grows
like,
right outside.
do
our
it,
house.
right?
Yeah. Loquat season.
Okay, good.
Mildly
That's
interesting for now.
For now.
Super interesting
Okay, good.
in the near future.
Okay, great. My mildly interesting is called Pet Cube, I think is what it's called. I got this awesome thing because I'm like famous now, you guys. So they gave me this like little Pet Cube thing, and it's the thing where you record. You can like watch them on your phone while you're gone, and then also you can rocket launch treats to them.
What?
Which is so great, and you can yell at them.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So like if your dog is being a dumb bitch like mine is,
Yeah.
I can be like, no. And then she'll hear me yell at her, no. And then if she stops, then I can like rocket launch some treats to her. So instead of being on my phone and ignoring people I'm sitting across to because I'm on Facebook, now I can ignore them because I'm watching my pets.
You're being big brother to your pets.
Really a parent. I mean, it's obnoxious. Like, what are you going to do? I don't have kids. They're my babies. It's fine. Some of us have 3 children. Some of us have dogs. It's fine.
Man, if only I could rocket launch things at my kids. That would be awesome.
Just get it and rocket launch, like, whatever you want. Blueberries. Just pew. It doesn't matter. They'll get on the floor. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what I was going to say. Yeah, I want you to get a reel together.
Oh,
and I want it to be high quality. I want 2 minutes. And I think you know what your strengths are, but in case you don't, I'm going to tell you. I want lots of dialogue.
Yeah.
Like fast dialogue. I want like a lawyer. You could be on something like the West Wing version, like any day. Mm-hmm. And then I want something where you're like really caring and generous in whatever genre that means to you. And then something else where you're funny and sort of a Judd Apatow kind of.
Yeah, where there's some awkwardness and vulnerability.
Yeah, like a Mark Ruffalo. Is that who it is? Like a Paul Rudd sort of thing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. And then so for something like this, would you combine drama and comedy scenes together?
I would for you.
For sure.
I would do one reel.
Sizzle reel. Yeah.
Yeah, don't ever call it a sizzle reel. It makes me it makes my skin crawl. Just like a reel.
Yeah.
And like no more than 2.5 minutes tops.
Yeah.
So when you're filming it, you can really keep it clean.
Right.
Okay.
How many different scenes would you put in those 2 minutes? 3?
Yeah, I would do like 3, like the 3 I said. I think you should be making like bajillions of dollars a year.
Okay.
Like, I think you should be thinking like that. I really want you to think like Joel McHale level. Like, I want you executive producing shows. I want you, like, I think of you like Jordan Peele. Like, I want you start to think of yourself on that.
That's nice.
Yeah, I think you can do it. I really think that you can. I just need you to start opening your scope up.
Well, you know what it is? It's also narrowing the scope to tackle one specific thing.
Yeah,
instead of trying to do all these things at once.
Totally.
What's left in the workshop world? Well, do this stand up, or should I try to keep the foot in groundlings and do these improv shows? And
right.
And I think it's narrowed down to like, because of the time constraints.
Yes.
I could do all those things if there are other less constraints.
If you had less children, right.
So I have to really narrow the scope and pick and choose and
focus.
Make it a good quality of each one.
And the thing about you is you're really great at focusing, but you have to like choose to do it.
Yeah.
Like, but once you do choose to do it, then like I dare anyone to get you off of it. But it's like you have to like really decide that that's where you're going to be putting your momentum and your focus on. Yeah. But if I were managing your career, that's where I would go. I'd be like, let's get you a little theatrical momentum. Then let's start showing them how great you are as a writer creative. Then let's start putting that into pitches, ideas, and productions as you have something as an actor that you're, getting some heat from. And then you have that sort of in the back burner. And then once you get some heat as an actor, then we start popping you as a writer. Right. We get a show for you. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because then people are like, what do you got? What else you got? What do you got?
Well, also, I think that's where it's not even about how people react to you. Like, I think that's like where you live. Like, I just think you're a highly creative, functioning person. Like you creative,
right, without
like
the drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, no, you do. Like, no, but I think you are at your best when you're like create, like you're on a heightened problem solving, functioning, creative place.
I'm really good at those problem solving scavenger hunts.
I bet that you are.
So I've first place in the Amazing Race Hollywood.
Oh God.
Okay, first place in the Amazing Race Santa Monica. Then first place Amazing Race Brooklyn.
The real
shout out East Coast.
Is why aren't you on the Amazing Race then?
I know.
Really, that's really the magical question.
Well, do you get typecast then? It's hard to say.
No, I understand. I feel you. Yeah, that's why I'm not worried about you, but you're just going to have to but I see that for you. I see you building that, but TikTok goes the clock. But also you've got to, I really honor you with that. You've got a 1-year-old. And so that's why I'm not pushing you too hard, too fast.
Yeah, right.
Because if it takes you these next 3 years, that's fine.
Right.
Time's not going to run out in these next 3
years. Yeah, it is that get everybody into
school
everyday.
Yeah.
Level of care.
Yes,
so that we're not juggling that as well.
That's right. Well, thanks, Derek.
The pleasure is all mine.
You have anything you want to say to them?
No, it's been said.
Okay, good. All right, you guys. Shout out, special thanks to Derek. He has to go home and take care of all of his children. So happy Oscar Sunday to you. And we will see you next time. And don't forget your towel. Next week on Audrey Helps Actors, we have actress Kate Siegel on. She is currently a series regular of The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix. She is starring in it as a series regular. Her husband, Mike Flanagan, is the writer, director, creator, showrunner of that project, and we talk a lot about that. I wish people talked about what that looks like to be in a relationship with somebody that you're also working really closely with. And we talk about creating your own projects. She had a very successful horror film that she also created, co-wrote, and starred in with Michael Flanagan, her husband. They work very closely together in lots of their projects, and we sort of discuss what that is, what that's like. I know a lot of you are in creative partnerships. I know a lot of you are interested in creating your own work that then becomes successful. So we talk about how to do that. So take a listen. She makes me cry. If that's exciting to you, find out why. All right, you guys, don't forget your towel. Also, special thanks to Derek Mehn. Derek, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming over. Derek has 3 kids, you guys, and he came over and he did a nice long little chitty chat. So I hope you're on your way to an audition. Book it. Book that last minute pilot. Don't forget your towel. This show is produced and edited by Jesse Lumen. Oh, he's so handsome. Special thanks to Thomas Snodgrass for the mic assistance here and there. He's so generous with his mic. It's good to have your sound guy across the street, you guys. And thanks to Aalok Mehta for some help with the theme song. Music this week and every week by Ari De Niro. And most importantly, don't forget your towel.